You're listening to episode 31 of the Decorate Like a Design Boss podcast. I am so glad that you're here, and today I'll be talking about how to know if and when you might need an interior designer. Just an insider's hint, I've been a professional interior designer for 30 years, and even I need a designer from time to time. So let's get ready to deep dive into the world of pro design. What's it all about? How to navigate it? And how to determine if it's right for you. Welcome to Decorate Like a Design Boss, a podcast for design lovers who want to create beautiful spaces in their very own homes. My name is Kimberly Grigg, and I'm a professional interior designer who teaches design lovers like yourselves how to decorate. And when I say decorate, I mean decorate like a design boss. If you're ready to create a space that your family loves and your neighbors can't stop raving about, well, buckle up, honey, because it's time to design. Well, hello there, my lovely design lovers. We are rapidly approaching year end, and if you haven't already, now is a great time to check out my Interior Design Insiders Club. This is where you get a whammy load of interior design secrets and know-how. We do all sorts of design things in the club, and hey, it's a great thing to add to your Santa list. So if you want to learn how to become your very own interior designer and to do so with confidence and ease, then check us out at KimberlyGriggDesigns.com. And now let's talk about something else you might need, and that is the services of a professional interior designer. First, let's talk about a few fundamentals about how you approach decorating your home. Now, today, I'm going to use some of my own references as a professional designer to really make a few points and drive them home. I don't want to appear pompous, and I don't want to suggest that I know everything about all the ways other designers work, and I'm not really trying to push my services. I just want to give you a good overview from my own perspective. So bear with me when I refer to my own experience as a designer in the design business. First, let's suppose that you have a good eye for design and or you love decorating, kind of like as if it's a sport. Well, you might be able to pull things off with confidence and ease. You might even take some of my courses, join my club, and feel better and better about the process. But there's bound to be some of the trickier areas and questions that might just kick your booty. If this sounds like you, then it's appropriate to call in a designer who can help you solve your biggest design problems, dilemmas, and challenges, and or simply shed new light on that problem. A designer can also be a really good sounding board in a situation like this and help you know with confidence whether your proposed solution to a design dilemma is valid or even how to pull it off. Many of us, me included, can sometimes get an idea stuck in our heads and can become so asphyxiated on that particular solution that we really can't see past it anymore. When this happens to me, I unabashedly seek another pro's opinion. Now, of course, I work with other pros on a daily basis, so I just walk over to someone else's desk. But for you non-pros out there, this is a good time to consider a virtual consult. I offer these all the time. Aside from my own just now shameless plug, there are plenty of very qualified designers whom you can access online anywhere in the world and get a great resolve to what might seem like a tough dilemma. Based on my research, you can expect to pay from $150 to even up to $1,000 for the consult, and most last about an hour. I often do ongoing consults with clients because sometimes we can't solve the dilemma in just one session. I typically conduct mine via Zoom or FaceTime, and I know many other designers who do the same thing. And I've had great success helping people via this vehicle. It's a real time saver. It's really good for situations that are not too terribly complicated and situations where I don't actually need to see the space in person. There are times, however, that a face-to-face visit is desirable if possible, but the point is, don't be afraid to seek the help. It's painless and affordable, and it works. So, are you the person who's easily overwhelmed? Well, if so, an interior designer might just be right for you. I have a bevy of clients who have great taste and are very savvy. They, however, are overwhelmed by the design process. A good designer can take your project and dissect it into bite-sized pieces. I always bring my clients in for the things I am unsure of or want their feedback or opinion on. But with a client who is easily overwhelmed, I work tirelessly to break the choices down into itty-bitty bite-sized pieces, and I never offer more than 3 choices at one time. Another reason to choose to work with a designer is you're simply stuck. Does your home look like the kids still live there and they actually moved out years ago? You never got around to decorating your master bedroom? Or maybe your guest room still has your leftover college furniture in it. An interior designer is always eager to get a project rolling and complete it. In fact, we sort of live for this. And we can jumpstart your home into the next stage. Another reason to hire a designer is maybe you're just too busy. I have had lots of clients over the years that led busy lives and they just don't have the time or energy to pull off a good cohesive design. I've had clients say to me, I don't have the time, energy, or expertise. Here are the keys, and here's how much I'm willing to spend. I typically take it a little bit further than this by getting some information, but what they really need is someone to provide the complete service for them. And of course, this is perfectly acceptable. And if you fall into this category, well, don't be shy. What's important is that you live in a home that you love. Another great time to look to an interior designer for expert advice and wisdom is when you might be moving into a new home. Moving in and of itself can be overwhelming, even for those who aren't easily overwhelmed. A designer can help you improve overarching elements that are in need of updating if you're purchasing an existing home. A designer can help you tie together paint colors, lighting, window treatments, and floor plans. You can also enlist a designer's services to simply help you decide which pieces to keep, which to retire, and a good designer can breathe new life and vision into some of the pieces that you already own. Conversely, a designer can help you determine what pieces to add to what you already own to develop a cohesive yet fresh approach to your new space. This is one of my own personal favorite types of design jobs. I find it extremely appealing to determine what new life I can breathe into someone's existing pieces. Again, I am not saying this to shout out that I am even entertaining new clients right now. It's just that I am trying to make a point. It's almost a sport for me to breathe new life into pieces, and I love the creative aspects of it. Lately, with the pandemic, we're experiencing long lead times as designers, and it's increasingly difficult to source materials, furniture, and accessories that we need. So we, as a design firm, made a decision to scout antiques and available materials on Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, and eBay. I am often scouting antique shows and antique places. We also went into our very own warehouse. We've added coats of paint, new fabric, and we have a great upholsterer. And this has allowed us to transform what we considered not that valuable, actually, and we've transformed it into amazing. We actually recently wallpapered a small chest of drawers with some leftover wallpaper and put a protective coat of polyacrylic to hold it in place beautifully. The result is nothing short of amazing. This is super fun and is good for our environment. And having help in this regard is a really great way to get a great result. One of the most important times to use a professional interior designer is if you're building a home. Many builders offer a designer on staff who works for that builder specifically. This can be adequate, but mainly this type of designer really just helps you with the selections of materials that the builder will be using to build your home. A hired outside designer can actually help with those same selections, but will also be more apt to consider the overall project and the things that you already own to help pull the project together in a cohesive way. The in-house selections designer will only be concerned with how the elements work together for the house itself, and this can actually end up being a detriment to the project. Many people don't realize or understand this, so heed this word of advice and caution for the best outcome. Now, I am not knocking that this type of designer does the full service part of this, but it is more typical that this type of designer is really an expediter of selections so that the builder isn't held up in any way. Most people building a home need more than just a selections in-house designer. So bear that in mind as you navigate the process. So, what if you're thinking that you don't have the budget for a designer? Well, it's understandable to feel this way, but I want you to consider several things. A good designer will save you money in the long run. So the money you'll spend on mistakes, and I assure you, they will happen, will most likely more than compensate for the cost of a designer. If you're on a limited budget, express this right up front. Many of us as designers don't actually care as much about the budget as much as we care about the project itself and the success we think we are able to achieve with that budget. Some of my favorite projects ever have been limited budget projects. I actually approach any project based on time, whether I can take it on, and if I take it on from a business standpoint, will it net me what I need to make for the time it's going to take me? Often in these situations, I will let one of my junior designers or a staff designer handle a lower budget project, and then I will end up overseeing the project to make sure that it is completed adequately and beautifully. All projects have similar steps, and there are a lot of those steps. So I don't take personally as many low budget projects as I once did, and many of these become ongoing virtual consults for me, where my client ends up doing all the legwork and I do the advising. Virtual consults can be so effective that I have even consulted virtually through an install. That is when my people are out in the field and I am on a computer telling contractors exactly where to hang artwork, how to shift the furniture, and so on and so forth. Sometimes this is necessary and required because I've had a wonderful opportunity to do projects that are out of town, and this is a good way to keep the ball rolling. Finally, and in many cases, when you have a very limited budget, I suggest you hire someone who is newer in the business, who can achieve good results, and who will work for less. Long ago, me and a host of other designers were new to the business, and we were eager to gain experience. The right way to gain experience is to work. So if this is your situation and you're on a very limited budget and you're willing to take a slight risk with someone who might not have 30 years of experience, well, I say it's perfectly okay to hire a newbie. Sometimes their ideas are super fresh, and it doesn't mean they aren't good. It just means they're newer in the business and don't have quite the experience or confidence that some of us oldies but goldies have. But it is often good and solid work. Another good time to hire an interior designer is if you are renovating. Renovation work is tricky business, even for seasoned professionals. This is the time to include a designer in your budget no matter what, unless you are a pro. So I'm going to say that again. This is the time to include a designer into your budget no matter what, unless you yourself are a pro. Renovation work requires a certain skill set, and this is when you need to hire a designer who has renovation experience. It's a different animal, and accurate thinking and ease with problem solving is a must. You truly need someone with a track record here. When you start tearing up a home, even if the goal is to rebuild it, there are a host of issues that will creep up. In addition, your designer should be versed in city regulations, codes, setbacks, and other governmental issues that could cause a major glitch in your overall project. I know of one such renovation where the designer on this project wasn't versed in city code. She specified an 8-foot wall for the back surround of the project as a pool wall. Unbeknownst to her, the city had a 6-foot restriction height. The entire wall had to be rebuilt, and this was not only costly, it was a critical time mistake. And finally, you should work with a designer if you're ready for a change. Suppose you have just become tunnel visioned, but your home needs a bit of a facelift, or you just feel the need to freshen it all up. Before you fall into the domino effect in a big case of the might as wells, consider hiring a designer, even if it's via virtual consults, to help with the myriad of options that might seem available. Designers are experts at helping you consider all the options and the selections for the long haul. We also stay abreast of our opportunities and available products. We see the bigger picture easily, and we know how to source for that vision. To achieve a more polished overall aesthetic, a designer can give you a lovely product, but provide a huge shortcut into the realm of a great overall completed design. So I happen to have a lovely client who became a wonderful friend who actually went to design school. She has exquisite taste, a great eye for color, and is completely drawn to beautiful things. She unabashedly has hired me to complete several projects for her, mainly because she isn't actively working in the biz, so she doesn't feel that she has the resources. And secondly, she knows I tackle and complete. And thirdly, she doesn't completely trust herself. So my role with her is to really know her design DNA. You can learn more about your own design DNA in episodes 1, 2, and 3. I involve her in things I am sure that she can make a decision on, and then I take risk because I know in the end that the risk-taking is actually the real reason I'm involved. She won't go there because she is emotionally attached to the project and she doesn't feel as confident because she's not doing this on a daily basis. So risks for her are scary and overwhelming. So my final encouragement about a reason to hire a designer is because a confident designer will take risk when often you might not be able to pull those triggers. Look through some design magazines and our high-end decors on Pinterest. Notice how confident designers will stretch you to new heights. Most likely, many of these magazine-worthy spaces might be too stretched for you. However, many of these spaces would have never been born without the confidence of a designer who was willing to go there and willing to take risk. And in the end, this is what can make a home unique and inspiring, and if tackled correctly, an amazing representation of the people who live there. So, what can we learn from today's lesson? Well, maybe even if you thought you were well on your way to a beautiful home and that you were well on your way to pulling it off yourself, from time to time, we all need the help of an interior designer. Think of it this way. A very skilled surgeon, most likely at some point, will need the services of a skilled surgeon himself, as it is likely that he or she can't solve their own medical dilemmas alone. So consider your circumstances and your design challenges, and then consider that there are many ways to seek help, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person, or whether you're a candidate for turning over an entire project. Interior design is a real profession. I once said to a business coach that interior design is as complicated as brain surgery. And he said to me, well, then why aren't you charging like it is? Point is, there are a lot of decisions and moving parts in good design. So sometimes all of us need help in navigating the myriad of those details. So don't be bashful or shy or even reticent. This can be as important to your home's success as the sofa that you purchase. So I say, go for it. And as always, thank you for joining me on today's episode. I love bringing you good design information, and starting in a few weeks, we have something new. I'll be taking your own design dilemmas and challenges and weaving them into each episode. I am getting tons of emails, and I'm so grateful. Now, if you'd like to participate and you have a dilemma and want help solving it, or if you have a triumph that you have solved, then send that to me. And you're going to do this with some pictures. That's really helpful. If I have some pictures, I can better answer your questions and help you solve your dilemma. And then I ask that you write in the subject line, design dilemma, and then listen in, as I will be solving many of those dilemmas here each week. You can send those in email form to Kimberly@KimberlyGriggDesigns.com. And of course, I'll be here next time with an exciting interview with a color therapy expert. So there is a lot going on over here on podcast land. But until then, I like to say, don't wait. Today is a great day to decorate. Thanks for listening to Decorate Like a Design Boss. If you want more info on how to decorate your space like a pro, visit KimberlyGriggDesigns.com. See you next week.